I'd like to talk to you about an important concept of leadership. Saying no is a very, very important leadership style, particularly for the young children and young minds. Right? So, in Indian context, the parents have been typically saying to kids for generations together, "Oh, you should not say no to elders." Yeah, good, but why? Let's introspect. But you come, that's okay in the home, maybe, put a quote. But in the corporate or in an education institution, people want to get into corporate. They want to work for multinationals. I worked in a multinational company for 15 years, and I was taught by the training and development team and leadership skills training how to say no. Right? I tell my kids to say no. I'll tell a short anecdote at the end of this talk. Okay. So saying no can be an effective leadership style. So why it is important to learn to say no to be a successful leader in any context? So let's see a few examples. Some reasons why you can say no. It shows that you're confident and in control. When you are able to say no to the request you get, it shows that you are confident in your own abilities and that you are in control of your own time and priorities. It helps you to focus on things that are more important. When you say no to the requests, it frees up your time and energy so that you can focus on the things that are more important to you and your friends. It sets boundaries and expectations. When you say no, it sets clear boundaries and expectations for yourself and for your friends or your boss. It can be your professor, faculty, anyone. This can help misunderstand to avoid misunderstanding and conflicts. It teaches others to respect your time and boundaries. When you are able to say no effectively, it teaches others to respect your time and boundaries. It can help to create more positive and productive work environment. Of course, saying no is not always easy. It can be difficult to say no to friends, families, colleagues, or your faculties or supervisors in industry environment. However, it is important to remember that you have the right to say no to any request. Here are some tips to say no effectively. Be direct and honest. Don't beat around the bush or make excuses. Simply say no and explain why you are saying no. It's important to say the reason behind it. So the person who is making a request understand. And be respectful when you say no. Don't come as a rude personality. Even if you are saying no to a request, it is important to be respectful of the person making the request. And be firm. If the person tries to pressurize you to change your mind, be firm and repeat your no again and again. You can so if you're clear, you can say, but we are not clear in your mind. Why? The priorities, the time. If you want to be nice to everyone, want to make everyone happy, we all know we cannot make everyone happy, but we try to. That's the Bharatiya culture. And we offer a compromise sometimes. If you are able to offer a compromise, it's very good, such as doing something at a different time or in a different way. And this can be a good way to say no without completely shutting down the person making the request. It is more important because if you say no, there's something called Newton's third law. I always talk about it. Every action has an equivalent and opposite reaction. If you say no, the other person making a request can make it turn hostile sometime to you, right? You could potentially burn the bridges. So it is also important to remember that you don't have to say yes to every request. If you are being overwhelmed or stressed, it is okay to say no. In fact, it is important to say no to requests that are not in line with your priorities or that will cause you to take take on too much work. So pressure, stress, everyone have. There is no time for everyone, right? From LKG kid to 95-year-old grandmom, right? So saying no can be very difficult skill to learn. I found it difficult. I was mentored and coached in a multinational company for 15 years to say no. I encourage all my subordinates, my teammates, and my students and friends, my kids to say no. And I say no to my parents. I learned that thanks to my corporate work, all the leaders and my coaches in the corporate. But it is an important one for the young minds and young leaders, particularly in the Indian context. By learning to say no effectively, you can protect your time and energy, set boundaries and expectation, and teach others to respect you. Here are some important tips to the young leaders in Bharat who are struggling to say no. Be clear about your priorities. What are the most important things for you and your friends and your team if you're in a corporate? Once you know your priorities, it is easy to say no to the request you are getting that don't align with your time and priorities. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And we think it's a taboo to ask for help. I always ask for help to all my family members and friends. If you are feeling overwhelmed, don't be afraid to ask for help from your friends, family, relatives, your team, or your faculties, your manager, or your mentor or coach. Remember that it is okay to say no. You don't have to say yes to every request. In fact, it is important to say no to requests that are not in line with your priorities or will cause you to take on too much work. I've been repeating this continuously to stress the message. So it's a very powerful tool for the young and budding leaders in Bharat. By learning to say no effectively, one can protect the time and energy, and as we to re-stress again, can set boundaries and expectations and teach others to respect you. The slide you're seeing, there are some of the tips how to begin a conversation to say no. Please go through that and ask me questions. I would like to quote three examples before I end this talk. One of my mentees, I don't want to take the name to embarrass him. He came into my life on last week of May, May 21st, I think. Right? I mentored him for some he's doing good, he's very happy, he's content. And he has said no to me many times. He said, no, I'm busy in coding, I'm busy in preparing for an interview, I'm busy in with my friends. I appreciated him. One of my friend, day before yesterday, my academic, he came and said no. I thanked him. I profusely thanked him from my bottom of my heart. Again, I won't take the name. I told friend, yeah, it's important. I appreciate. Right? And yesterday, my son came to me and said, no, we have to go to Bangalore by drive on Thursday morning. But he said, no, I have work in office and I don't want to come. So I changed my plan. So it's important. I encourage. What I preach is what I follow. Guys, let's all start saying no, but understand when to say no and when to say yes. The usual disclaimer. Happy saying no, guys. Bye bye.